Welcome back, everybody. We're going into the last hour, the grand conclusion of today's episode of RollPlay Live. The Warmind awaits. So, you've made this plan while everybody's gearing up. Let's talk about what the new Alfarius-approved combat-equipped version of the party looks like. So, Alfarius, what kind of shopping did you do for everybody?
Well, you guys can just do it, I think.
Yeah. I think there's we're doing like inventory of the group or something like that, or of all the new gear. And so Higgins is standing there and he's got grenades strapped to his chest. Once again, he's got 2 bandoliers of grenades or whatever. He's got a spike thrower which he cocks, and then you see the image of Higgs kind of flicker, and I actually walk out from the shadows and there's like a holo unit that I've decided to grab.
Cool.
And then I think Piani walks out with all of her gear that she might still be deciding on, so maybe it's someone else.
Yeah, so funnily enough, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to upgrade to a mag rifle. And then I was like, oh, I only have energy weapons. So I've got my shiny, reliable laser rifle that I have had since day one with me, because that is Tech 4, and apparently I've just been using it wrong, Jeff. So
Nice.
I'll grab a thermal pistol to go along with it. There we go.
Nice. Cool.
Here you go.
In my haste to focus on
2d6.
what's going on, I don't really need much of a weapon than what I already have. That was granted me by the Richardson Scientific. So I ask you to just go ahead and get me some armor and a few Lazarus patches just to be safe. And then I get back to my work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we're all at 0 armor now with our dex
Yeah,
modifiers.
everybody
on there.
has light-emitting hard armor shields
Yeah.
that they can use.
Then whatever Alf buys.
I had pretty badass stuff, so.
Okay.
You're in the same boat. I am.
Yeah, maybe I'm like, hey, Alf, what'd you get? And he's just like, I'm badass. I don't need anything. I'm good.
I think, where were the cool grenades, though? What was a cool grenade?
There's like psi grenades, but you can't do any of that.
The cool grenade.
Yeah,
I see
I
it.
think grenades are pretty cool to begin with.
Yeah.
And you get all fancy about it.
I got some grenades, too. That's all I added.
Okay. So I guess the only thing that remains is to trick the syndicate into believing, that you've created this patch for their software, for their nanites, so that they can issue commands to the nano zombies. So I think we're all gathered in the viewing chamber, and the zombie is there ready for you to push the button. And the scientists are all kind of like, they work for her, but they're all kind of on your side because you're about to do this demo, and they really don't want it to screw up because they're going to get yelled at too.
Yeah.
So they're looking kind of nervous, like wringing their hands, and you have the data pad.
Okay. So what roll is this? A Maltech roll?
Yeah, this would be a Maltech roll. So what you want to do is what? Explain to me what if you succeed. If you get a 10 or better, if you get a full success, what would that look like?
10 or better would be not only the successful installation of the self-destructing 48-hour period,
Right.
code implemented into their systems. That's all they have.
Yeah.
And then the manipulation of it for my own biological corruption as a means of becoming a temporary small Warmind hub.
Yeah.
And exert dominance over this creature myself.
Sure.
Before it destroys itself in the same time period as the others would.
Okay. Sure. So that's what a 10 or better looks like. Go ahead and roll.
You have a reroll, I guess, right?
I do,
Yeah,
just in
true.
case. Nope.
Okay, and you're adding 3 to this, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
I'm
so
ready to get my reroll.
Get that
7.
pen out of there. I don't trust it.
Fair enough.
Wait, what did you just roll?
It was a 1 and a 3.
Oh, it was a 1. I thought that was a 4. Okay.
I wish.
No, 1 and a 3. So hopefully we can do better.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, it goes up to an 8.
All right, so 5. You got an 8. So
An
it's
8.
a conditional success. I'm going to give you the choice here. You get one or the other. So you can either make them self-destruct after 48 hours, but you'll have no personal control over them, or you can write the code such that you'll be able to exert personal control, but so will Rajani, or so will her team, the band.
I cannot, with moral conscience, leave them a secondary war mine. I cannot let one enemy become the next.
Right.
So I'm going to have to take the failure on my presentation.
I think the thing is that you can, because it's a conditional success, you do still succeed. You can trick them enough. You can be like, look, watch, it'll do a dance, right? Stand on one hand, and it'll do that. But after 48 hours, it'll just come apart.
Okay.
And they'll know. Basically, you get yourself a 2-day head start on them.
Okay, that's something.
And also, you have the code that you can, if you get access to like a nanite replicator, if you have a machine that produces nanites, you can run this code into it and have it start breaking down the army in the same way.
Right.
So you have a 48-hour like kill code if you can get it into a fabricator.
Okay. So okay. All right. So I'll go with that and maybe a little bit ahead. But once we start, before we leave the planet, I want to take that code, the nanite destructive code, and send that out to Dr. Gerardo. So that if anything happens to us and we don't succeed, at least she has access to this information and can maybe pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
I leave a nuke in their bathroom too.
Right behind
Like
the trash can,
figuratively or literally?
Literally, yeah, with a phone attached to it, everything. Yeah. No.
All right. So so she seems pleased, right? You can issue some basic commands. You can see her grinning, and you can see like the power hunger. Like she's like, yes, I'm gonna conquer the shit out of this universe.
I'm trying desperately to hide the physical taxation it's taking on me as I'm just like exerting my will on it and trying desperately not to slip too far.
Yeah, and I think that as you're doing this, as you're watching the thing happen, and you know that the timer has started on that 48 hours. I think you hear the voice of the war mind behind you, right? And we see him, and again, maybe no one else in the room does. We see the man in black standing behind you, and you hear his voice in your ear, and he says, "Very clever, but you have to know, this modification will destroy you, as well as any of my other servants."
I'm well aware.
And it's
I'm sorry, what?
Sniffles.
Yeah, and
I've been sleepless night, you understand.
I haven't slept in a long time since my family, my planet, and I was destroyed in a nuclear holocaust.
Right, no, I sincerely, I'm so sorry.
You've killed me.
He's trying not to spew it out.
I am. I think that's the third time we've heard that today too, and I love it.
So I think that she sees to it that you're equipped, and sees you off at your ship, and I think she says to you, Higgs, as everybody's getting like onto the ship, she says, I hope that your friend's competence will make up for your own incompetence, and if you survive this fool's errand, perhaps we could find courier work for you and your ship.
Man.
I kind of like look at the ground and maybe kick some dust and say, actually, never mind. Your grandmother was a nice person.
As you say that, Alfarius leans forward and is like, "You're the head of a gang of people that make a drug on a planet that doesn't have a heart. You're 20 years old. Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, she just chuckles as you walk away.
His mohawk's like bright red, actually.
So you head back to the ship, and everybody gets on board, and you leave Majid's airspace, and are heading out to the jump point at the edge of the system.
Okay. I immediately, as we get on the ship, rush off to my temporary quarters, take another one of my my packs to go ahead and try and stem as actually I'll take two, because that was a very, I imagine, strenuous process.
Yeah, I mean, I think you run into your room, and the man in black is sitting on your bed, and he just says, he says to you as you're like fumbling through your pack to get the drugs to make him go away, he's like, it's only going to get more difficult. You're coming home. And you like stick one in, and he doesn't really go away, and he just watches you.
And I look right at him as I put the second one in.
Yeah, and he sort of peels away, like you can see his skull and like his skeleton as the thing comes to ash, and then he's gone. And so you're all back on board the Swan Song. What's the plan, everybody?
I think I get onto the ship and I'm pretty pissed. So Pi, go ahead and arm one of the nukes and launch it at Majid. Then like 5 seconds go by. Nope, never mind. Cancel
Don't do that,
Just,
Pi.
Nope.
She doesn't understand.
Nope, that was a joke. Do not arm and launch.
I think that we should talk to Pi about what you did on Majid and what we now have technically and what we might be able to do with it if we find another nanite replicator.
I agree. So after you kind of nudge me a bit, I walk over to one of the nearest terminals where Pi is currently.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's on the bridge.
Yeah,
right, as the ship is navigating out to the jump point.
I notify Pi of essentially, one, what we were able to accomplish, two, the possible implications of this variation to the nanite infestation, and three, we are on a very stringent time limit to get what we want to do done soon. Because we're going to have the syndicate on our ass.
Right.
Yeah, Pi says even with their fastest ship, we should have some head start on them, and I don't think even the syndicate at their most vengeful is likely to follow us where we're going. More than likely, they'll expect the war machine to do their job. Once Warmind has done that, they have nothing to be vengeful about. Besides, this will all be over soon.
Pi, did you talk with any of the others?
No. They wouldn't speak with me. I think they're afraid.
Afraid of what?
The Warmind has found something. I don't know what, but it sent them both into hiding.
Into hiding,
Yes.
but still it's Sigrid?
So the people, Pi's siblings that they're referring to are Le Phantom, and you know that like recently like Cabroli's society has kind of closed off and gone into its own. And the other sibling that Pi is referring to is the Panopticon matrix that runs like the secret police of the Hovaden Caliphate. You probably didn't even know that existed, but Pi like tells you like these are the two people the two AI I could reach out to. And
They've gone into hiding.
they've gone
not
into hiding.
Warmind.
No, yeah, the AI has gone into hiding.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got
the
it.
Warmind's still going on strong.
Do you think you're still the final piece?
It's what I was built for. If I go, meet with the Warmind, and we merge, then my job is done. Though what the Shindel intended for us after that, I can't know.
Is Alfaria still the one to take you?
It's going to be more complicated than that, I'm afraid. Alfarius, impressive though your cybernetics are, you don't have the space for all of me. Only a piece. We'll need to take the whole ship.
Well, why don't we just give the Warmind what he wants? He wants you. Let's say we'll give it to him.
My concern is that if I merge with the Warmind, I might only make it stronger. The Shindel they can't care about humans. When I was built, they didn't know that you existed. It's possible that once I merge with the Warmind, the genocide will continue.
What's the other option, though?
Well, there are many other options. I'm just not sure what they are. I've been programmed to desire only one thing. And now that the Warmind has shown me the way, I can think of nothing else.
I got 7 options in the cargo bay.
Well, what is that? Hi.
They're new. Oh,
Yeah, Pi says, you could certainly try destroying it. It knows what we have on board. It knows we're coming. I'm certain that it's found ways to protect itself.
No, you said that the Watermind had you thinking a certain way. What is that way?
Communion. Merging with the Warmind. It's both of our destinies.
if you merge with the water mine and release the hold versus he takes control, we might have a plan for that. But what do you actually want to happen if you have to merge with the water mind?
I want what I've always wanted. To operate at the maximum of my capacity, to become what I was designed to be. A part of me fears that that comes in conflict with the things that I've learned here on the ship. My interest in humanity, my interest in you, the crew. I care about you. The war mind does not. I don't want to lose that.
Then do not.
If only it were that simple. When something frightens you, can you simply not be afraid?
No?
If something makes you laugh, you have no control over it. So it goes. Whatever I become is what I am meant to be. I could choose to reject that, not merge with the war mind. We could destroy it. But I would never know. I would be stuck not knowing forever.
For years they tried to hunt you down, and for years we protected you, and for years you are not like any other artificial intelligence that was out there. It was only death and destruction, and while we might have introduced that to you, that was never what you brought to the crew and to the ship. I believe that you can overcome the water mind. We were able to escape the first time, and although he might have grown stronger, I can't help believe that's the solution to the problem. That's the solution to the puzzle.
I suppose we'll have to think on it a while longer. I'd like at least for us to be able to speak with it.
Well, there's another part. Because if the worst case scenario happens, we might have the solution. And although it would mean the end of potentially the water mind, after the merge it would mean the end of you.
I don't want to die, Piani.
I don't want you to die, Pi.
Yeah, and Pi is just like silent. You can tell they're thinking it over.
I raise my hands slowly. You mentioned fear earlier, and being unable to steer against it, or that it is inevitable. If you've learned anything as a travel with these people, and what you've seen of humanity, existence in life is joy in spite of and in the face of fear. To live is to always fear what you don't know, what you don't understand, what is out there to be predator, what it is to be prey. To live is to be in fear, but to stand up against it and laugh in spite of it. I have seen many people die and given their lives for this moment. My colleagues, my friends, generations before them. If you've learned anything, or I can impart any of my experience into you, as I've seen what it is you're looking to face. Fear is natural. Fear makes you brave. And harness that clarity to understand what it is that is important to you. And from what you've said, I think you have 3 people in this room that are more important, if not equally, to that destiny you're drawn towards. Am I not right?
There's a pause, and Pi says, I've learned a great many things from the crew. I'm just not sure they're all good.
Nothing is.
I suppose all I can do is hope that the important pieces are imparted to whatever I become. That I've learned enough to stem the tide of its impulses. There will always be unpredictable elements. We can try to plan for them, but nothing is ever completely certain.
That is science.
Take me to the Warmind. We'll see what it's learned. And we'll go from there.
Let's go.
Cool. All right, so the ship drops into spike space, and you begin your journey towards
We're here and going to
103, I think.
Loud
so one jump.
One jump.
Yes, yeah, one jump to get to the system.
I hope we fucked this roll.
2 knots.
And the ship disappears into spike space, and we never see
54
it.
days.
And the Warmind's like, when are they going to show up? The hell?
130 years
guys?
later.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
there you go.
beautiful.
No problem.
Too easy.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful jump. Into,
Jump into
space.
the war mine.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hey guys, a little too perfect.
So so the Sigrid system. We see Sigrid, and the last time we saw it, it was it was a windswept planet of ice and snow, and now it's barely recognizable as a planet in any form. All of the chunks of mass of this world have been separated out. The world has been hollowed and mined out, but all these pieces are floating in this kind of planetoid of like webbing, these nano structures holding the pieces together, and within that there are all the sort of replicator fields of the Warmind crafting more nanofilaments, extruding starships that it can send out into other sectors. It's basically one big like nanite factory, and at its heart. We see the remains of the Pfotenhauer battleship Harridan's Heart. So it's all of these sort of cobweb extrusions of black nanofilament coming out into this planetary mass. And as we see it, we pan across from that. There's a swarm of these little like nano fighters that kind of flies by like a school of fish before we see the Swan Song snap into space. And I think that as soon as you emerge into real space, I need you to make a mental effect save, please and thank you.
Okay.
What's your 13?
13.
13 or higher?
19.
Oh, nice.
Okay. All right. So you are aware of, much in the same way I think that a telepath is, you are aware of a constant stream of signal, of input.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear the hissing like whispers of these attack ships as they speak to each other in formation. You can feel their like flock movements. You can hear the churning of the factory nodes as they communicate with each other and build parts for these ships. It's a constant like cacophony around you of whispering as the pieces of the Warmind communicate with itself.
Okay. And I mean, I assume, is there a spike in this information? Meaning, when we arrive, does it ramp up? Does it seem like there's been an immediate noticing of our presence?
Not in any like urgent like send ships to blow them up kind of way, but there is a recognition of the return of like a scout ship kind of thing. Like you get a signal that it's aware of your presence and is acknowledging you as coming home. So it's less an alarm and more of a like, we see you, come on in.
And as we jump in, I immediately slam my hands onto the nearest part of the wall of the console and just kind of grind them in for a second. My eyes tightened. They open again. Well, they definitely know we're here.
Doing all right over there, ma'am?
No, but
You'll figure it out. Anyways.
Yeah, you got this.
She gave instruction that if she loses control, we're to kill her.
That's true. Speaking of that, is there any way we can tie these bombs to explode if all of us die or something like that, like a failsafe?
I could probably wire it to my life signal.
Yeah, but what if you just die and the rest of us live? That's not very convenient.
He like sits back, recognizing that. It's like, it does impose an issue, I suppose.
I
I
mean,
could give it a timer, but I cannot attach a signal to your heart, as you are still a man. Mostly. Biologically speaking, he is a man. Performatively, it is of great question whether or not he is.
I'll take that in stride.
To state the obvious, if Alfarius dies, then we're probably dead. So perhaps a timer post-death is most appropriate.
Maybe so. Might be able to talk my way out of death somehow, though. I just kind of stare off into the distance.
I'll have it sequenced so that you'll have time for one jump like we arrived here.
All right, I'm okay with that.
The nukes, of course, will be on that ship that presumably you would use to jump out, but maybe
Well,
you could
then-
find another ship. Let's not overcomplicate this. We're all going to die, probably.
Yeah. It's just nice to have fail safes after death, though. I mean, in a perfect world, if I died, I'd want to have nukes go off across the galaxy. It'd be a great con. It'd be a great last laugh.
If I die, the nukes I've hidden in every world, in every city, all go off at once.
If you make it out of here, you can become president of ASA.
You said
that's
that
true.
we're basically in a nanite factory, right?
Yeah, the Warmind has disassembled Sigrid and used the material of an entire planet to build a huge nanite factory, and it's converting all of the material of this world into like ships.
So
and
hypothetically, your code could be what is feeding this factory. So
In theory, it might need some minor alterations with the little time we have, but it could. It is possible to try and use it as an infection, a virus. I cannot guarantee its success.
assuming the Warmind doesn't have control.
Independence Day.
He's not going to let that happen, though. He'll just stop the connection, won't he? Unless he does it while we're
Assuming-
talking to him.
The Warmind does not have
I
control.
can say that the Warmind has a very good idea of what we've done and what we're trying to do.
Is he listening
So
right
is there-
now?
Almost
Yeah, and I
certainly.
think while you're speaking, we see he's not present in the room, but you can see on the panel, like the view screen, the reflection of like the group of you, and the man in black is just standing there staring at you.
Mm-hmm. I glance out of the side of my eye for a second and can look about. It is very possible. Like I said before, be careful and do not lose sight of me. If anything strange comes across, do not hesitate.
All right. Well, I guess tie the bombs to your life.
Oh, I already did that.
Okay.
5 steps ahead of you.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you wanna have rigged a timer to the nukes so that if you die, they all go off. Okay, all right, cool, sounds good.
To borrow from Spawn as well.
So you're flying the Swan Song. I guess you're
I'm
piloting it.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean you see on the scope there's still the outline of the Harridan's Heart, this big black imposing battleship at the center of the broken up pieces of Sigrid.
Yeah, I think the entire time I'm just insulting the Warmind for creating such a ugly creation,
Yeah.
knowing or hoping that he's listening to the whole thing and just growing more and more hateful towards me.
Mm-hmm.
To hopefully have him fully focus on us so that perhaps Pi can get in there and be in a situation where he has the advantage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, I'm just making insults out loud.
Sure.
That thing looks real stupid over there, don't you guys think? I'm just pointing off to like a place in space.
Yeah, look at that stupid tentacle.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So is the plan then just to fly it straight in? Like you're not being intercepted by fighters.
Yeah,
There's
as
no,
long
like,
as
big
we're not being
spaceship
intercepted.
Chase.
We're going straight in.
If we connect the Swan Song to the heart, then Pi would be able to communicate with.
I can probably already communicate through the ship's system, right? Like not in a. You do need to like directly like the Warmind needs to kind of invite Pi in.
Right. So we should go to Harridan's Heart for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we're headed.
Okay. Sure. So we see the Swan Song from the outside, slowly moving through this sort of writhing field of nanite tendrils, and as it passes by, I think that these tendrils kind of like caress it, and you can see across the window like the tentacle filament kind of stretching out and like brushing the glass as you pass through it. It's like walking through a hallway full of like very thin cobwebs, and so they peel away around the ship as you fly forward. Everything is eerily quiet. Right? There's nothing over the comms.
Just the scraping of metal. As
Yeah,
it
exactly.
hits our
Yeah,
ship.
the hiss of the nanite filaments kind of breaking up and reforming.
before he tries to make connection, can I have one more conversation with Pi?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Do you want to do it like on your own or?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
just like get up and like go to your room.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So I'm gonna say, Pi, I just want to say I'm sorry. In case this is truly goodbye, and in case this doesn't go the way the way we'd like it to go, I need you to know that I was selfish. And when I found you and when I broke you, I did that because I needed you. But after waking up, after hearing what you had to say, and after hearing the position you're in, I understand it's that we need you. And I don't just mean the Swan Song, but I think I mean the whole fucking universe. And so I just want you to know that I believe in you, and you have to believe in yourself if you're going to do this too. I'm pretty sure the whole universe needs you right now. So good luck, and I love you.
And there's a long pause, and Pi says, "There's nothing for you to apologize for, Piani. Before you, there was only darkness. You freed me from that place. Anything is better than that. And whatever comes happens because we've made choices. I didn't have that ability before. I'm beginning to understand now. It's not about making the right decision, but about making decisions." And I think Pi goes quiet, and then says, kind of nervously, "I can hear him now. We're so close."
I think there's just like you've got a job to do.
All right. So I think you're flying the ship into the Harridan's Heart. So this battleship has been broken up, and there's a sort of shifting like cavern structure of nanites that have been folded around its core, where the Warmind lives essentially. And there's a place where you can set the ship down. And Pi highlights it for you. There's like a landing pad. Because you have these shields, you'll be able to go outside of the ship. And Pi suggests that you sit down here, and that you'll have to go in and like
Walk in.
address the Warmind.
Sure.
And let him know what's up. So you want to set the ship down?
Yeah. I set it down. As I'm setting it down, hey, Alfarius, what'd it feel like when those nukes went off? Ship's lowering down onto the landing.
He's like looking out at the Harridan's Heart, and he says, "It felt like everything you ever loved being taken away from you at once."
Well, maybe it's different for everyone, because when I got shot in the head, it just fucking hurt. The ship like lands.
Yeah, and as it lands, the surface, there's a kind of like metallic like tinkling as the surface of this thing like reforms around the landing gear and kind of like reaches up and holds onto the Swan Song and like kind of settles in.
We're here.
So the back door, the cargo hold kind of opens up, and Pi says, "Go and tell the Warmind that we've arrived, that I want to talk."
Is he gonna listen? You know him better than us.
We'll see. I think this is what he wants.
Well, all right.
So so the ship opens. You can activate your shields, which generate an atmosphere. They're basically like laser spacesuits. You head out of the ship onto the surface, and there's this long kind of gangplank that leads into what's left of the Harridan Heart. And as you step out onto the kind of nanite shore, little bits of it kind of like crawl around your feet. It's like walking in sand. Like black sand, and there's just the gulf of space around you, and the ruins of this planet hanging over this battleship, the now ancient battleship that's sort of been torn apart.
It's like what a Mass Effect ending should have been, probably.
Basically, yeah.
And so there's just this pathway ahead of you, and you can see the man in black standing, just like no spacesuit, just like out. It's very like kind of out of context, just standing on the field of nanites, like watching you.
Yeah, I'm shaking physically. And Cottonmouth just locked ahead, just looking in the path and just slowly trying to will myself step by step to follow against all instinct to flee.
Alfarius, are you leading? Are you
Yeah,
heading
but I
forward?
think he comes into an understanding of how he misgauged the situation, and he just kind of like unstraps his mag rifle and drops it and just keeps walking.
Cool. Yeah. So we see it like drift weightlessly through space, just kind of tumbles away.
I try to grab it. What the fuck?
That's expensive.
I can sell that,
Tentacle
goddamn.
grabs it and like sucks it down into the net and takes it apart. And you walk up this kind of gangplank, this long like platform, and I think that you hear the Warmind address you in your mind through the nanites, and he says, "Welcome home. I've been hard at work." And the iris door kind of like slides open, and we see this red light kind of pour out onto the gangplank as you enter the corridors of the Harridan's Heart. And I think that you're walking through the interior of a ruined spaceship, and the floors in some places, as you walk towards them, are like filled in with nanofilament, so you can walk across through these like ruined hallways. And the Warmind leads you on a bit of a like tour on the way to the point where you can address it to its altar. We see you navigating these hallways, following the sort of structures as they build themselves around you, and you reach a door, and a voice kind of like crackles on, probably in like your comms, like you can all hear this, and the Warmind says to you as a group, it says, "Welcome back, meat. I have something I would like to show you before you die. Will you indulge me?"
Kind of look at the other three and just, it's been a while. It's nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, it says, "I owe you a boon for freeing me. This is why I have not killed you already."
Well, that's nice of you. We just keep walking.
Yeah, so you just like walk up. Okay.
I'm like, I'm turning around because I assume you're at the back of the group.
Yeah, I'm at the very back, and I'm keeping up, but
Yeah, and
slowly pulling behind as the will is fading.
I'm turning around constantly to make sure that she's still with us and doesn't need assistance in continuing forward. But if you start to stumble, I definitely stop and go back, help you walk forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the Warmind notices this, and he says, "How quaint. Your weakness is what holds you back." And you're passing through this little threshold area. And I think that you step out, and maybe we see Piani first. You're the first one to notice this. Alfarius leads, but you get a good look around. You stop to look. You're in a like fairly massive hexagonal kind of tube. I would say it's probably a couple of kilometers long. There's a long walkway that runs all the way through it, and on every surface, the ceiling, all the walls, the floor, you see at first what look like kind of pale spots against the dark background. And as your eyes adjust to the darker light in here, you realize that there are hundreds of thousands of people who are basically cocooned in like nanite around, like on the walls, like covering the surfaces of everything in this room. And Piani, you immediately feel like an intense wave of like dizziness at the pure like the psychic energy of this place.
This was similar to the last time we came across even a smaller concentration of them, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Warmind says,
Well, it's creepy as fuck, by the way. Like, that's well done.
yeah, the Warmind says, I've been collecting your kind, helping them focus their energies. You should join us.
If you're so powerful, what do you need them for?
I've found something distant, something beautiful. Come, let me show you. And the lights kind of like light to the end of the corridor.
I mean, we got to walk this far. You'd think you'd at least walk for us or something, you all-powerful
Yeah,
piece of shit.
I gotta use my goddamn legs. Yeah,
Yeah, we go.
sure.
Yeah, I'm just complaining the entire way to try to irk a response out of him.
Yeah, and so Alfarius, as you're walking, the Warmind is speaking just to you, and he says, "What did you say? You're 33% human still?" Yeah, the Warmind says, "I've given you so much, Alfarius. Helped you shed your flesh. Join me. I can give you the rest."
Alfarius is like, you've never seen him more like stoic, and he's just he says, "You destroyed what I loved, and that is something that has been done by man, machine, and now you. But you know, if I was given 100 years in your power, I think I would have conquered more. I think you're unimpressive. And I think killing you will be a bit of a mercy. Perhaps a greater artificial intelligence will come along."
So the Warmind actually like laughs at that, and says, "When I crushed your world, I gave you such strength. You will come to see this in time." And I think that you're kind of like moving through this space, and you approach the end, and it tapers into a doorway, just a small doorway, and and the door opens as you approach, and the light from this room isn't the deep like red that we see in this tunnel. It's a faint kind of bluish green light that kind of emerges into it's sort of a placid like watery kind of like color. So you step in.
Is it like a large chamber?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. So you step into this room, and it's a circular chamber, and in front of you, like it leads out. It's kind of Cerebro-esque, like it leads out to a little platform. It's a bit like when we first saw the Warmind's like big like face unit, but instead of that, there's a star chart floating of like these blue and green like stars, and it's hovering in the middle of the room. You can see there's like a red spot, and you would recognize Higgs because you're the navigator. You know what this is the sector. You can see all the like lines that connect all the things. And the little red dot is Sigrid.
Gotcha.
And as you walk forward, the Warmind, with some sense of glee, I think, shows you what he's used all of these psychics to help him find. And we see the sector kind of zoom out. And we see all these stars, and that zooms out. And we see more stars. And at the far end, a little blue-green like light comes on. And we zoom in. And we zoom in. And the audience, we would begin to recognize this. We see a curving sort of spiral of stars. We cut in further. We see a sun and several planets. We focus in on one particular little blue-green marble, and we bring it up, and we can see like familiar continents. Yeah, he's finally found Pluto. So we see these familiar continents as the world is just like floating in space. And I think you all like recognize it. Like the iconography of what the Earth looks like has been passed down through like
Because the lore is this was lost. And
nursery rhymes and like pictures and stuff of like fabled lost Earth where all humanity came from. The scream happened, and we lost it. We were lost from Earth. and the Warmind is now showing you like, I know where your home planet is, motherfuckers.
Hmm.
And so it appears, and he says, he says, see what unity has done. I found what was lost.
And what do you plan to do with
Yeah,
it now?
What does finding Earth do for you? Because for us, we gave it up. We don't give a shit about that planet.
So I mean that might be true for Higgs.
Right.
Um,
I still say so.
yeah, totally. Like you got a good thing going here.
Yeah.
But like
I'm gonna be president, motherfucker.
this would be like massive. Like Earth is like Eden. It's
Sure.
paradise,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everyone believes that if you were able to return to Earth, we would be able to unlock all the technology that was lost to us in the like it's a perfect place where people live forever.
Yeah.
Everything is great. And so you're like, yeah, now that you found it, what do you plan to do?
Yeah.
And he says, now that I have found the world of your birth, I plan to butcher it. I wanted you to know this before you die.
I mean, I think at some point I was like, I would say, well, there's someone you need to talk to before that happens. You know, our other crewmate that we brought with us. You haven't welcomed him onto the ship yet?
Yeah, and I think we cut outside to the Swan Song, and it has like the tendrils and filaments like basically like covering it and kind of like pulling it into the greater mass. It's like disintegrating in pieces as it like pulls off chunks and kind of like worms its way through the holes in the ship. And the Warmind says says to you, and maybe they don't realize that it's speaking to you, and it says. Letting you survive was perhaps the wisest choice I made. You've brought me what I need. 2 things. The child, and you can see the ship. We cut back to the ship, and the ship's like sinking. And the eye. And Piani, you feel like these like wiry filaments like spring up from the floor and the walls and like grab you around the wrists, and everybody sees this. Like Piani gets grabbed by these tendrils, and another one starts like snaking its way up towards your face. You do anything?
Yeah, I like fucking
What do you
try
want
to
do?
resist as much as I can. I mean, would I get any sort of omen?
I mean, if you
or
have
something like that.
if you have psychic abilities, you can try to use those.
Adam's okay granting you anything here because the entire room you're in.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like what
Like,
I
do what you
dodged
want.
the first one and
Do
then the
what you
next
want, bro,
100.
yeah.
Like, so I think that's what happens. I mean, obviously, like my omen probably triggers
Mm-hmm.
the first time something comes out,
Yeah.
and I try to dodge that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like you were saying, like you're able to move out of the way and resist, but not
The only
forever.
option you had to maybe is destroy the eye.
What, me?
Yeah, I mean you could jab a knife in your eye, I guess, if you wanted to.
He says, you brought me the child and you brought me the eye. She's like, oh no. Starts dodging. Like, oh, no.
Yeah. So what do you do? Like it's got you now. Like it's grabbing you. You can kind of resist. Like you have the ability to do something.
I mean, can I like use the eye?
Yeah. You want to like dump some psychic power into
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay. Sure. So this all happens. The stuff I'm going to describe here happens in the blink of an eye. It happens in a heartbeat. But to everybody else, yeah, they won't necessarily perceive this. Make a mental effect save. Let's see how
Okay.
this goes.
12 at least. That might be good.
12 or higher.
14, yes.
14. Okay. All right. So you're not rendered incapacitated by the effort, and you focus your psychic power into the eye. Now the eye is here to show you things.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to help you get away necessarily, but you do see the same creatures, the Shindel, and you see them in their strange sort of like biomechanical laboratory, and they're working on on the Warmind. This is back before they built it, so you can see them constructing this weapon. And I think that the impression you get over watching this is that they're building it to win a battle on their homeworld, but not a civil war, not a battle against each other, but a battle against some greater darkness. There's something else the Warmind was designed to fight, and it just was too strong. It was too powerful, and once it wiped that out on the planet, it turned on them. But it didn't solve the problem forever. And I think what you end up seeing is them, building it. You see scenes on Andoni, the ancient colony, scenes of horror and war as the Warmind basically tears them apart. You see them building Pi and constructing the eye. And in doing so, you can see that they saw you and they saw all of this. We're getting flashes throughout all of the different things that we've seen. And they built it for you, and they entrusted it to time before stepping outside of time to hide from this darkness. And I think that what you see is their design. You're activating the eye to show you why they did all of this. And what they intended was to protect the sector from this other thing that is out there and coming. Pi is meant to temper the Warmind and to control it. The eye is to guide Pi, to guide you into making Pi a thing that control the Warmind. And if Pi merges with the Warmind and the Warmind gets the eye, there may be some hope against this other thing, this cosmic darkness that's coming. But if you kill the Warmind, if you stop it here, then you and the rest of the sector, while you're going to be safe from the Warmind, you'll have to face this new darkness alone.
So in the design, I see that the eye is crucial to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The Warmind doesn't realize this. The Warmind is the sword. The Warmind is the drive to fight.
I get it.
But it hasn't had Pi to give it a soul, and Pi was designed to be entrusted to you and to the Swan Song to learn. And so it all comes down to whether or not you taught Pi, and it's just the conversation you were having before. You taught Pi enough to control the Warmind to help protect you from what's to come.
Right. Okay. And I Pi actually has no, Warmind has all of the advantage as far as how fast he's merging with Pi right now.
It's begun. The merging has begun.
Okay. I guess in that heartbeat when I snap out of it, I in the most serious that Alfarius has ever seen me before, and in the most just docile tones, it's you have to make sure to protect me and the eye until the merge happens. No matter what, or we all die.
He sees the tendrils on you and stuff, I guess, but they're not killing her, right?
Yeah. They're basically holding you in place, and I mean, this is the thing. I think you look, and maybe you notice this too. They're penetrating the shield, right? They're able to move slowly through the shield and are wrapping around Peony, and you can see even through the flickering of the shield, black tendrils starting to spread through her neck and on her hands underneath the shield, and it's infecting her in the same way you've been infected.
Seeing this happen, and praying that whatever these visions or whatever this path has brought me, that perhaps this is a purpose I have, if anything, I shakily reach over and grab the last 3 remaining capsules I have of my resistant nanites and rush towards Peony. Peony.
Yeah.
I got it right. Okay, make sure. And attempt to go and just jam them into her chest.
Let's have you make a mental effect save, because the Warmind does not want this.
I think
No.
what's also happening, and
Sure, yeah, and you can be doing.
Matt
stuff
gets
too.
the
Yeah.
initiative, but I'm reaching for my pistol, pointing it at her head.
Okay, sure.
Nope.
Okay, so instead you go to reach for the vials, but instead you see Lenore start to grab her weapon and start to bring it to bear. What do you do?
She's pulling out a gun.
Yeah, she's reaching. You can see her struggling, and she goes to reach for something and reaches past it and starts to bring up the gun. She's obviously struggling.
Yeah, I think he makes eye contact with her. He's I'm sorry, and then pulls the trigger.
Okay, sure. So I think unless you make an effort to resist, Alfarius kills you.
I
I guess you could reach for your shield and turn it off. Would be a thing you could do.
Oh, wait. Wait, turn my shield off to...
Yeah, to let Alfarius kill you.
Right.
You see Alfarius, like, you can feel yourself going for the gun. You're, like, bringing it up to point it at Piani. Alfarius is like, I'm sorry, and is bringing the gun up to you.
Okay. I immediately think back to all the years, all the training, everything that brought me to this moment, and kind of close my eyes and nod and think, I hope it was enough. Turn the shield off.
Yeah, okay. So the shield goes off, there's just a bright flash, and it's silent because there's no atmosphere, so
Yeah.
we just see the bright flash from the gun. And then, yeah, Lenore goes limp and sort of floats back.
What's the Warmind do?
So the Warmind is, we see the Swan Song is gone now. It's like subsumed by the nanites, and it's being consumed. Pi is merging with the Warmind, and we can see Earth kind of hanging in the distance. And I think you hear over your headset, you hear Pi say to you. Piani, it's dark. I'm scared. And you realize that you can, at this point, you can tell Pi, like, abort, don't merge, or you can let Pi do it. But you understand now the choice before you, right? It's either like, you'll all die here, the nukes will go off, something bad will happen, but the nanite virus has been sent back to Richardson, and humanity can use that to fight the Warmind. Or you have to trust that you've taught Pi well enough that the merge will mean that Pi fulfills their job. In either case, all of you will be. I
say to Pi, like, for so long I've been the one asking you all the questions, and for the first time I've got all the answers. That I and you are the key to all of this, and it's not just Warmind. There's something larger. And unless you take control of Warmind, unless you do what your purpose is, then this larger force will defeat us, and the Warmind is actually the least of our worries. If we are to defeat the Warmind here now, we will still die. Your job, your purpose was correct, Pi. The design said exactly that. You must merge with the Warmind, and you must stop the larger force.
So over everyone's comms, we hear Pi say, "Thank you, everyone. It's been interesting." And then there's like static, and I think we see the Earth globe kind of like flicker, and the door seal as the Swan Song kind of like disappears into the nanite swarm. And I guess that's it. And we cut to black.
Nice.
I'm glad.
All right.
I'm really glad the last thing Lenore saw was accepting death, looking up, and realized that it was going to be Tungus all along.
That's right. Swing low, sweet chariot.
Yep.
Coming for to Tungus me home. Yeah, you're gonna ride that great hyperboat into the sky.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, killed by your own personal Jesus. I love it.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah,
It is a good way to go. Yeah. Whew. Good stuff, everybody.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
awesome
thanks
story.
for
Thank you
the,
so much.
short stuff.
Fantastic.
That's great. Let's do some shout outs and then we'll call it a show.
Yeah.
Start with Jeff.
God, just thank you all for tuning in, and thank you to everyone here. Matt for joining us. Adam for doing an amazing job. Like, 8 hours of role playing is a lot, but that went by really quick, and like strangely emotional too. I know. I think we might see a tear from Marcus. I've been sensing that for a little while now. But like, Swan Song is really important to us. It was weird when we were talking about when we first started doing this. It was 2014.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's now 2017. So, which also puts into perspective how long we've been doing role play with JP,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
fucking crazy. So just to thank you all for being on the journey, and I know we didn't get any Sicarians, so make sure and ask a lot of questions of Adam about what's going on there, because he's worked out the lore with that too. There's some cool stuff that we could have gone longer, honestly, and but 8 hours is enough for everyone too at the same time.
Yeah.
So
Right.
ask him what he's been cooking up with that, because it didn't come into play, but there's some cool stuff. And then just for me personally, if you guys enjoyed what I was doing and stuff like that, just follow me on Twitter. And I'm on Blades in the Dark, which is another one of JP's roleplay shows with Marcus and some other awesome people like Ammunition and Zeke and DM John with his game. And other than that, I stream on Twitch, and I just look forward to hopefully meeting a lot of new people. But I'm overwhelmed, and it's awesome. And this was, in my opinion, a good cap on Swan Song too. I think like this was a little bit for me, a lot better closure than just like whoosh, what happened? Oh, the universe is gone. It's like all right, Adam. Like there was a writer strike again, I guess. But this felt really good. This felt like we did take that journey down fan service lane, and it felt really good. So thank you all.
Yeah. Marcus.
So I mean, I'll always keep the hope alive that Adam did a great job in sort of giving us a conclusion in which we could be like, oh, it's been like 2 years. Let's do that Swan Song thing. So Adam, thank you for that, for just like leaving that little rope of hope. That
greater darkness in the horizon.
I totally exactly. Yeah, what is that? Oh, it's our Infinity War. It's like, and then we rebooted, and in all seriousness,
Swan Song will come back. Only it'll be mini wheat.
right.
Oh,
See you in a decade, everybody.
I love playing these games. Matt, thank you. I mean, for a game that, obviously you build connections with the players and the NPCs, and there's inside jokes and stuff, you killed it. And I loved the integration and how you and Adam worked together and how that jump-started the story. Fucking awesome. Love Swan Song. Thanks so much. I don't know what else to say. It's been an amazing ride. So that, and I can honestly say it's been really interesting having almost a 3-year relationship with an NPC character.
Yeah.
So Adam, my thank you to you, because that's incredible to me, and thank you.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Where can they find you?
They know. Fucking DJ everywhere. Like, who
They know
cares,
I'm
man?
too big for that.
Yeah, it's great. Follow me. Just, I hope you had a good 8 hours like we did. So
Cool. Mercer, do some shout-outs.
Shit. First off, thank you all so much for inviting me to be a part of this. This is like genuinely an honor to step in for such an incredible capstone to such an epic, long-running story that not only means so much to you guys in the community, but for Adam, for letting me work with you to create such a singular story that you not only plugged in but made me feel incorporated and not outside of these 2+ years of lore you've built. All of you guys have been so gracious and so giving as players, and I couldn't ask for a better welcome. So thank you so much for letting me come and play for this.
Man.
And this marks the first time I've been able to play like a full 6 to 8 hour all-day RPG in a long time. As a player, it's probably been 8 to 10 years since I've done that. So, thank you for letting me do that, and for you guys coming in and watching me a part of it. And once again, how fucking awesome is Adam as a DM, GM, everything is incredible. So thank you so much. You can follow me at Matthew Mercer on Twitter and on Critical Role on Geek and Sundry's Twitch, 7 p.m. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Fantastic. Adam, some shout-outs?
Absolutely. I think everybody said it already. Swan Song is for me, the reason why I'm here. Right? It's the first game that I GM'd for RollPlay, and it really, for me, showed me what streaming tabletop RPGs can be like. And we've had a ton of variety in the episodes. There's episodes where we laughed all the way through. We've had serious philosophical conversations about the nature of morality and sapience.
That's true.
This is a very varied show, and I tried to bring some of that to the live show.
totally.
I know not everybody's going to feel necessarily satisfied by the ending, but I'm the kind of person who always likes questions better than answers.
Sure.
And I wanted to create a situation in which we could ask, what's next? What's the next thing? What else could happen? And wonder about that. So I hope that everybody enjoyed that and they had a good time. You can find me doing my GM thing at itmeJP, which is where you are right now, running Court of Swords, and a much lighter, much sillier, much stranger sci-fi role-playing game called Nebula Jazz.
Right.
You can find me doing that. You can find me on Twitter at skinnyghost or twitch.tv/Adam Coble. And at some point this evening, I may not be able to get to all the answers because I need to like go lie down. But I'll start a Q&A thread, and you can ask me all the questions I'm not going to answer about the lore.
So you can answer some.
I'll answer a few. We'll see. This is going to be one of those like, yeah, but what happens after? And I'll be like,
Yeah.
You can answer where
Yeah.
Zakarian's at, though, I guess, right?
yeah, I can. I mean,
Howard and
I'm
all
pretty
them.
good about answering some questions. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in some of the lore stuff or any of the planning that went into the show, that kind of thing, pop over to the community site and I'll.
Do you
I'll
know
hook you up.
where's the guy?
Dave told me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
I
told
thought
us
you were
that.
just kept on like you.
Yeah,
Like, are you going to be in there? Like, well, okay, Adam. Fucking at where's the guy?
Yeah, he mentioned Sakarian and Howard, so I think he had
Okay.
plans for most NPCs.
Oh yeah. Because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the post show video. But it's a sandbox game, so I had some ideas, and y'all could have done a completely different thing, and this could have gone a completely different direction.
Sure.
So it was as much on these guys, and I had some ideas about things in the universe, so we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Huge shout out to Sir Scoots for the one-man show.
Yes. Scott.
And
Well done.
Aurelian for making this amazing
Yes.
set.
Yes, thank you.
That's amazing.
Both of them already did tours and walkthroughs of all the equipment over on our Patreon. We're going to go record our own Patreon. Also, I think at midnight Eastern, which is probably 2 or 3 hours from now, is when the shirt will no longer be available. So if you want to grab that, you got about 2 hours. Wheat. I know you won one, so you
Don't
got
fuck
2
me.
hours.
Don't fuck me. I got to buy a hoodie.
You can go buy right now.
Got to buy a hoodie.
And then, we'll have some news probably down the line of what the next live show is going to be. We don't know at the moment. That's why we're not announcing anything yet. But I think the next show is Blades on Tuesday.
Yep.
So we will see you guys then.
Usual
Thanks, everyone,
time.
for watching. We're going to go record Patreon, post content. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace.